So this is a quick video showing how I changed a fuse in my 2024 Toyota Yaris. Now it's true I shouldn't have had a blown fuse in a new car, but as I will discuss, I'd had a security camera professionally installed, and it appeared that something about the install caused it to blow a fuse. So you'll find the fuse box under the passenger side. You remove the plastic flap and wiggle your way under. It was really hard to film as I'm lying under the passenger side upside down at this point. So I knew a fuse had blown because the radio and center console display screen lost power and wouldn't work. I looked at the fuse guide to get an idea of where the radio fuse was. When I got underneath, I could see the security camera fuse tap was plugged into that port. I'd had a Thickware brand security camera installed with its own battery supply, and I'd wanted it tapped into a port that would only work when the car was switched on. This was because the previous Thinkware camera I'd had kept draining my car battery even though the battery protection settings were in place. I was compensating by unplugging the camera in my garage to avoid parking mode activation, but I would forget to plug it back in when I drove off. And for the price, well, it just wasn't an acceptable quality level of product function. So I went to a place with top reviews to get this one installed. So I was surprised again when I encountered this problem. So pulling out the fuse tap, I could see the 7.5 amp brown fuse was blown. If you can see the black mark there that I try and focus on. It was strange that it worked for a month or two and then suddenly blew. So I replaced the 7.5 amp fuse and plugged it back in, the whole tap, security camera and all. The console then had power for a few seconds, then it blew out again right away. So this time I pulled out the fuse tap completely and just replaced the 7.5 amp into the original port. This worked. The console had full power and it didn't blow out when I did this. So the next thing I had to do was get the camera working again, however. So I returned to the installer and told him about the problem. He just simply decided to put the fuse tap into another port, and he chose the USB port. What you see here is the battery pack for the camera stored under the seat. When the car's turned on, that battery pack will recharge and supply power for parking mode for about 24 hours. So what you're seeing here is the USB port that the installer decided to plug into when I returned to him to fix the problem. So it's been fine ever since. I'm a little confused as to what the problem was. I thought he'd overloaded the fuse at first, but the USB port has a lower rating than the radio, so who knows? So there's my little problem-solving effort. If you like this video, consider giving a thumbs up and or subscribing, and I'll see you next time.